All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Creative Maestro, the platform where creators come to collaborate. I am extremely honored because we have via global satellites, like not just we have Mr. Miles Addy from London, who is a professional cameraman and photographer, and he's just going to share some inspiration and vision with us. I can't wait. Miles, how are you, sir?
Yeah, all good. Don't be honored by my presence at all. I'm just glad you invited me onto your platform. That intro is really good, by the way. I feel like you might need to make one for me. I don't know. It was that good, you know.
Oh, thank you. I can't take too much credit because I actually purchased it on Video Hive. I'm not that skilled yet, so it's a template.
Love it though. It's good, really good.
Absolutely. So, how are things? How has Corona impacted you? And could you give a little background about yourself as well?
Yeah, everything is okay. I guess I'll start with the background on myself. My name is Miles Addy. I'm 26. I tend to forget, but I need to remember because I'm getting a little bit older these days. But I'm 26. I'm a freelancer. I've been in this freelance game for about 5 years now, ever since I went to university or college. And I've just always had the drive and a passion to not really work for someone else and just kind of make it on my own and do my own thing, be my own boss. And I was just looking for the right thing to do with that mindset. So I fell into becoming a videographer. I studied broadcast journalism at university, which is a lot of like TV news and involves all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
I worked at, not freelance. I freelanced at the most notable place I freelanced doing broadcast journalism was at Thomson Reuters.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a great experience, but I found it very difficult to break in for many different reasons. From my age, which was a weird one, because they have a lot of older people there who are really holding onto their seat and not trying to give up their seat for anyone younger. And for some reason, that company in particular weren't really trying to blood in the youth like that as much as other places are. And another one, obviously, because of the hue. So,
Right.
So
that's very interesting. So it seems as if they're, to use a football term, they're not re-injecting youth into the squad. It's kind of
they really are not.
They're afraid of innovation. I don't understand that, because I have to give credit to Sir Alex, when you blend the youth with experience, that's where brilliance comes out of. So you get to have the experience and wisdom, and then you have the youthful, energy, talent, and hunger to get better. And I'm just like, guys, that's a Molotov cocktail of excellence.
Yeah, I mean, if you can use some of the people who are there, who have all the wisdom, and give that to the youth who wouldn't have anyone else, then you just end up creating this great person at an earlier age, and then the cycle just goes on and on and on, and they're teaching the next generation. So it's a very weird model over there. It is what it is. But as far as Corona is concerned, it was a tough start. I'd say about. I mean, I was saying to my friends about that 80% of my work was gone. I'll be real. I'll say 95% of my work disappeared.
95,
95% of my work disappeared as soon as this Corona thing hit. Only because being self-employed, you go out and get your work. Doing what I do, I have to go and film the stuff to be able to bring stuff back to edit.
Right.
The way things work in this videography game is that more time, you don't really get given edits, because if someone has gone and filmed it, more than likely they're going to go and edit it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So more often than not, especially in London, you will end up completing a project. You will end up filming it and editing, because there's a lot of competition for those projects. But if you've been given the opportunity to film it, you're going to want to take it home and finish off the project. So with that, everything just disappeared, all the work.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I feel like a lot of that work was football related as well.
Yeah, mainly football related with everything I've got going on. So, it was a lot of traveling in the country, traveling all to the Man United games. I don't live in Manchester, I live in London. And Manchester to London, for anyone who doesn't know, is a 5-ish hour drive.
Yes.
Yeah, so we do that every time. I say we do that. It's like it's a split journey. I kind of take a train to meet the other boys, and then from there we do about 3.5 hours to Manchester. But we've done it so often that we're just so used to it now. It's unreal how used to it we are.
I know, right? And I'm not gonna lie, it's incredibly and admirable. So I have to shout out, Flex and Josh as well. Like everyone involved with the United Stand. I mean, you guys are completely consistent. So that's really cool to, look at and admire.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So it's a lot of hard work. Imagine it's not just 5 hours there. We've got to do it back as well. So
Exactly. The round trip, that's just
more often than not in the same night. So
absolutely. That's a lot of work. So out of curiosity, what is it like being a professional freelance photographer and cameraman in London?
I don't know if professional is the word, only because I don't work for a company or anything. Because I work for myself, I don't see myself as professional. I guess the work I put out, maybe people would say is professional, but I don't know. I wouldn't go around and say I'm a professional this or a professional that. I'm just a freelancer who makes videos, really. I think the fact that I'm not working for a company makes me not put that title on myself, which might be downgrading my skills, but I don't know. It's just not a word I've ever associated with myself. But being a self-employed videographer, editor, photographer, I love it, man. It's everything. It's everything I hoped it would be. It's everything I wanted to do. It's more hard work than I thought it was going to be. And the more you kind of climb in this world, I thought the more I climbed, the less hard work I'd have to do. The more I could maybe pass it on to,
right?
the more I thought I could pass it on to someone younger or someone learning or whatever. But man, once you get to the next step, you meet a whole another rung of people who are also striving for their dreams. So you've got all these great contacts, but they're all pushing themselves, and you've got to push yourself with them as well. And then you've been privileged enough to have a door open for you and now be among this circle. Right. But that circle are not trying to stay where they are. That circle are trying to get through that next door, which is also the door that you told yourself you were trying to get to. But I thought, now that I've gone up a level, I can relax and it'll be easier, and maybe I can give someone else my work. But life proves different and tells you that no, the work gets harder the higher you climb, which is something that I really, really didn't know and was a shock to me.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And like you said, along that journey, you're gonna come in contact with a lot of interesting people, and some hopefully that you can consider mentors.
Oh yeah, big time. Oh, there's so many people that I am fortunate enough to know, and every once in a while, someone we have some big sporting channels, which I'm not sure a lot of Americans may know, but one in particular called Sky Sports. We have like BBC, which everyone would know. Yeah. And every once in a while, maybe one of their journalists or one of their presenters will give me a follow on Instagram, and it's like, wow, like it's like I'm remembering the last person who followed me, who was a Sky Sports presenter, a woman, and I was quite taken aback by it. So I gave them a message just saying, oh, hey, because I knew who they were, saying I love your work, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh yeah, this person who's a mutual friend of ours told me about you and said you're a really great videographer and said we should work together. So I've got a project for you after this Corona stuff. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. So things like that, man. So like I was saying, something like this comes up and it's like, damn, I've got to work harder now. Of course, do you know what I mean? I now have to put in that extra work. So that's how this game goes, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you brought up before about the whole situation with Corona slowing up the work. And my question is, during this, let's say, quarantine time, how are you staying focused and, let's say, getting to that next level?
Yeah, so I've kind of, work-wise, I've reached out to everyone, and obviously everyone, who can and can't work, people can't go out and film stuff and everything. But there have been one or two people that have been like, you know what, I've got this that needs an edit, this that needs an edit. So we can do something like that. Again, it's not a lot, but yeah, like staying motivated. I've really been using this time to. I've had this conversation with a few people because I've been doing a lot of stuff. People have seen I've been doing a lot on my Instagram, putting out a lot of content, and that's just because when the world is normal, I'm not really able to do that. I'm only able to really do work for the clients that I'm working for. And what I noticed that is that just constantly doing work for clients was kind of stagnating me a little bit. Like I
Hmm.
had a certain level of skills that weren't really being pushed and tested because the people I was working for really liked my level of work. So I never really felt I had to push myself. But then
Right.
I've always admired other videographers who are doing bigger things and have the opportunity to kind of practice and just do bigger things. And I've literally never, in like 3 years, I've not had the time to rest and really develop my skills because the
Right.
work has come in really consistently, which is amazing. So I kind of sat back and looked at life and thought, I don't think my progress was as much as I wanted it to be within the last few years. So
Right.
I thought, damn, okay, I've got this time. I'm not making any money, but I'm at home. No one can really drive around. So my car payment, like I'm not paying for petrol and things like that. So I'm at home and not being hit so hard financially. So I thought, okay, cool. Let me go on YouTube, go through all my tutorials that I've watched in the past and watch some more advanced ones. And through doing that, I've learned some skills that I have always wanted to do and never could do. I
Awesome.
hit I hit up some of my favorite content creators, just asking them how they did certain things, and they pointed me in the direction of certain tutorials and things like that. And through that, I've been able to make some more content. And I feel like once this whole thing is over, the aim is to be able to kind of hit the ground running with a lot more skills and a lot more to offer my clients and potential new clients because like I was saying before, you have to work harder to maintain your position and to keep going. So I'm working hard now while this period is here, which is slightly a blessing in disguise for me
Oh yeah.
personally, work wise.
Hmm.
So I feel like if I push and continue learning things that I didn't know and things I always wanted to learn, then I can come out the other side just ready to just kill it, really,
Absolutely. Just dominate, right?
big time.
Like vintage United style. I mean, that's what I love though, because it's people taking time to be introspective with themselves,
Hmm.
focus on themselves more, be, focus on self-growth, which I feel like is the most important thing, especially now when you have the time and space and you just have the ability to, amplify what you already have, like you're saying. So
Yeah.
even me, myself, like I've been able to, also reach out to content creators as well. I have to shout out Terry from the Football Terrace.
Hmm.
He's
Hmm.
on StreamYard and things like that. So just adding all these things to the repertoire, spending more time in Adobe Illustrator or Premiere Pro. And that was actually going to be my follow-up question for you. What is your go-to editing software?
I'm an Adobe diehard.
Oh yeah.
So I'm a Premiere Pro guy. I always started off with Premiere Pro. And then, once I kind of got to grips with Premiere Pro, just making simple videos, I I can't even say dip to toe because it wasn't even a toe, bro. I dipped a toenail into After Effects. You know of After Effects, I'm sure, right? Which is
Absolutely.
more video effects, like real, video effects stuff. You can really make some great stuff with it. I mean, did the most basic things with it, and then was just too scared to continue.
Mm.
Um, I use for photography, I use Photoshop, which I use a little bit here and there. Know the basics. I was using Lightroom a lot, which is great for um, editing raw photos. So you take the photos as raw as possible, as flat as possible, which kind of preserves. How do you describe a raw photo? It allows you to tweak colors much more than a JPEG would.
Oh,
Because
okay.
yeah, because a JPEG, if you take a JPEG, take a picture and it's a JPEG, it automatically kind of boosts colors for you and makes the picture nice as much as possible. It's almost like a quick edit.
I did notice that on what was it? when I first got my DSLR, I noticed that the raw photos was a CR2 file type.
That's raw. Yeah, that's a raw
Yeah.
photo. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So when you put a JPEG into Lightroom, it takes it, but you're just editing. You're basically editing an edited picture, right?
Ah,
It might not be the best edited picture because it's a JPEG, but you know, take any photo that's been edited and then try and edit over that and then put your touch onto it. The photo's already been edited. Do you see what I'm saying?
exactly.
So what a raw does is essentially it gives you a really washed out version of your image, but once you enhance those colors, it gives you more range and more freedom. You can change actual colors. That kind of brown bookshelf behind you, I could make that blue if I wanted.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I could.
Oh man.
If I took a raw image of you, I could change your skin tone completely. You know, I could do so much more. You know, so that's what raw photos are good for. So they always say if you take a photo, shoot raw, so that you can edit them and put your touch onto it, so that people know, okay, this is a signature Miles photo, this is a signature Josh photo. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a digital thumbprint. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. So there are so many content creators. There's a Canadian content creator called Peter McKinnon who
Peter, yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, yeah, exactly. Peter McKinnon. Another one called Alan Palender, who is a close friend of his, Peter McKinnon's. I would check him out. And they have signature stamps. When you look at their photos, you're like, yeah, that's a Peter McKinnon photo. You know, you could really tell. So yeah, you gotta really dive deep into your software if you really want to kill it and put your touch on things and not just make things generic. So
yeah, it's true. And actually, in addition to your After Effects comment, the intro that I used, the template, I actually had to edit it in After Effects. So I again, I put my toenail, not toe, just
a little bit.
a little bit, but I definitely want to go back in there. And what you
Mm.
brought up is brilliant because it actually reminds me of a music producer, right? And I know you're someone who absolutely loves music and what you're doing with the Decipher channel. Could you
Love
go
it.
a little bit more in about that?
Yeah, so the Decipher channel is basically it's an Instagram page. It was a YouTube page, but I don't really have the kind of time and effort to put into YouTube. But it's a dedicated Instagram page that promotes music artists, up and coming music artists all over the world, and also provides information for those artists. So what I realized was that I have a lot of good contacts in music. One of them being my blood cousin, who is a Billboard #1 producer.
Wow.
Yeah, he is behind a lot of the BTS, the Korean, you know, the Korean. Yeah, I think they're called BTS. They're like massive in Korea. Like he has like the #1 out there, or whatever. And he's worked with everyone and anyone. So people like him, you know, I started making videos for some of those up and coming artists through this channel called the Decipher channel.
Wow.
So basically, yeah, it's just to kind of promote artists, give them information from some of the people that I know from the industry who can kind of just give the information that some of these people are really longing for. Like, how do I approach a label? What do I say to a label? How do I get an agent? How do I do this, do that? So I just thought I'd do that. I don't necessarily have the knowledge, but I'm also learning on this journey as well. I'm interviewing these artists. I'm interviewing producers, A&Rs, just anyone and everyone I can get my hands on in the industry. And it's being helped by the people I already know. So they are kind of helping me meet other people and just make a success of this channel. So I really hope that it kind of takes off one day.
Yeah, I can tell by the visuals that it's a very stimulating,
Thank you.
stimulating, brand, which I can't wait to see what you guys do next.
Yeah, and funny with that because I make the posts every day.
Mm-hmm.
I try to make them a few posts ahead, so I do post every day. But I've made a few posts for like the next 4 or 5 days or whatever. But also, it's a blessing. It's a blessing because the Decipher channel page means that I get to spend more time practicing my creative skills because I have to make the posts on Photoshop, right? On Photoshop, an app that I'm not 100% comfortable with, but I have to make something. I have to make something, I look at some of the posts and I think, damn, this wasn't a great post. And I look at some others and I'm like, that was a good post, but something has to go out. So that's how my creativity is being challenged. I have to put something out, whether it's good or it's bad. I have a certain time, 12 o'clock, 12:01 in the afternoon. If I haven't posted, I really need to get something out. So it kind of pushes me to be creative and to work to strict deadlines. So I'm trying to use everything to kind of just also build my skills where possible, because no one else can build them for me, because I'm a self-proclaimed self-employed person. I don't have a manager to kind of to give me a training session. I have to learn this stuff myself. So yeah.
Exactly. And then the other part you touched on about being an entrepreneur, is that how important are deadlines to you?
They are very important, because a lot of the work I do are for other people. The majority of my work is for other people. United Stand, we've got deadlines, bro. We've got serious deadlines.
Yeah,
we have, the second a game is done, within half an hour, at least a video should be up. At least one. That means the game is over. We get to our position. We've got the crowd around us. I'm filming. As soon as I'm done with that, Josh edits, puts it up.
Wow.
That's how it goes. While Josh has put one up, I'm still filming. I'm on maybe the third or fourth fan cam. That's how it works. And then Josh will come back after he's put the first one up and say, can I have what you've got, what you've done? So maybe I've done 2 or 3. Then he will go away for another half hour, put those up. And then by the time you've got 5 up, I've then filmed another 5. That's how it works. And so within half an hour of the game finishing, half an hour is half, can I even say, okay, I'll say half an hour, because usually it is a bit sooner. It's about 20 minutes, but half an hour after a game, you've got something up, something to watch. So that's one major deadline there. And then everything else, all my clients, they have their own deadlines. They've got, their own content that they need to put out. A lot of it is social media based content. So they've got to post, they've got to do stuff. And if it's in my hands, I've got to get it out for them.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like that's bread and butter for any entrepreneur, is to have very hard deadlines, because as Miles is alluding to, it's going to push you to be even more creative, and it's probably going to squeeze a little more juice out of you to add that extra flair, that signature thumbprint, if you will.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a fine line between being creative and having your deadline. So I believe that you have to have a mixture of both. I feel like some people want to just be creative, and it's like, oh, don't bother me. I need to create. And if anyone gets in my way, then I'm gonna faint, and fan me down, because I'm the artist type thing. You see a lot of parodies of there's kind of maybe like French artists who kind of just need all the space in the world to just create, right? But at the same time, you have deadlines, and if you're working for people as a creative, you need to kind of learn how to be creative, but also get things done for someone's deadline. And I think a lot of the work I do requires both those skills, being creative and finishing things to people's deadlines.
Absolutely. It almost feels like, because I'm sure you've experienced the same thing at uni, where you had a group project and everyone has their part. So whenever you have that hard deadline set by the professor, all you guys got to meet that deadline. So you all have to coordinate, add your skill sets together. And I feel like it's a great way to practice teamwork in a setting like that.
Yeah, big time. I think being punctual with your work is a skill in itself to learn. Being on time is a skill to learn in itself. Like, just being on time, 2 meetings is the skill in itself. You have to, maybe the previous night, figure out what time your trains are the following morning. A lot of the work I do, I combine driving and train, because London is just insane with like traffic and everything. So I'll drive part of the way, park up at a train station, but I know that I need to be at that train station 10 minutes before my train comes, so that I can buy my ticket and make sure I catch that train. So I've got to get to that station on time. So what time does that mean? I have to leave my house. I have to leave my house at this time, which means I have to wake up at this time, which means I have to eat and shower at this time. There's just so much you need to, all of this is before you even get to the shoot.
Exactly.
And then you've got to take your bags. I park my car, take my 2 heavy bags out of the boot, sit on the train, maybe go over my notes for what I have to do, or look over a video on what maybe a shot I really wanted to do, but I'm not 100% sure about it, so I need to look on YouTube and remember how to do it or whatever, and then go to the shoot and impress the person you're working for and be like, yeah, I've got this great idea, let's do this, and then put all your energy into that. While maybe, I don't know, because maybe you forgot to eat that morning, and then you have to find your energy from somewhere. Life isn't perfect, so you're not going to tick all of those things. You're not going to, some people might forget to have that shower, forget to eat, forget to wake up on time. You might wake up 10 minutes before you have to leave the house. I've done that before multiple times. I had no food, had to pick up some awful food on the way, so yeah, it's just a mishmash of things that you have to try and get right. And if you can master that, then it's all time management. Then you can do things a lot easier and a lot better.
Absolutely. And it does remind me of, you essentially have to do things when you're unprepared, right? And then could you, just for everyone else who's watching, could you explain, because not everyone knows, could you explain how heavy your equipment is and like how the logistics are of traveling with that?
Yeah, I have daily shoulder workouts because of my back. I'll just say that first and foremost.
Yeah.
It's very heavy. I've got tripods, cameras. I usually carry 2 bags. My backpack will have my cameras in it because I can't just throw them in with all my tripods and stuff because they will break and whatever.
Right.
Those will carry, but those will also carry things like my portable charger, which will last me for the day. Things like that, batteries, all this kind of stuff. And my MacBook, my MacBook as well will go in my bag because sometimes I need to edit while I'm there or edit on the train home. So that'll be in my bag. That pulls on my back and pulls on my shoulders a lot. And then I've got a massive duffel bag that then has my tripods. I say tripods. I've got 2 tripods and a monopod, the one stick one, and then I've got my lights in there, microphones. It's two very, very heavy bags, and carrying them around London, you've got the main trains and you've got the underground, tight spaces. Yeah, but then like the traveling to Manchester, that's something that I'm now very, very used to. So it's good. It works out.
That's awesome. And we actually have our first comment here from Chloe. And Chloe asked, what are some best practices for planning for the unexpected? That's a wonderful question.
Yeah, some of the best practices for the unexpected leaves you unprepared. So I'd say be prepared for for stuff that you can't prepare for, which all that means is doing the best you can do to prepare yourself for a situation. So if I have a shoot the night before, all my bags are packed. I'm not perfect, so some things will be a bit off, and maybe I've had to use my Mac the night before, so I will have forgotten to pack that the night before. There'll always be one thing I forgot to pack, but I will kind of put it in the following morning. But all the things I know I won't touch, my tripods, they stay in my bag. My lights, make sure my batteries are charged the night before. And then before I go to sleep, it's in the bag by in a certain part of my room. And then I've got my clothes ready, whatever I'm wearing. I usually wear like tracksuits on. Do you guys have a word for tracksuits in America? Is there a different word for tracksuits?
Tracksuits, jumpsuits.
Yeah. I usually wear tracksuits to my shoots because they're just comfortable, and I don't need to look professional like that to film stuff. I need to be as comfortable as possible. So I'll have my clothes ready. So as soon as I'm up and I brush my teeth and shower and do what I need to do, boom, into my clothes, and then my bags are just there ready. One thing I'm bad at is eating in the morning. Like even if the food was prepared for me, like even if I prepared something like a sandwich to eat in the morning, I probably would just forget and leave the house. Like I end up leaving not enough time for that. So that's my bad thing. But everything else I'm able to prepare for as much as possible. And so maybe you wake up and then you're that train that last night it told you was available at 8:30 is now cancelled. So things like that. You always wake up a couple of hours earlier and check that check that train is still running, because anything can happen the following morning.
Exactly.
Things like that. Anything you can control it 100%. Because if you don't even control the things you can control, then you're kind of asking for trouble, really. Yeah. Anything else is out of your control. I might wake up the next morning, be ready to leave the house. It's happened a lot of times. In fact, I've left the house and been on a train a couple of times, and they said, "Oh, sorry, I can't shoot today."
What?
Yeah.
Without any notice. Oh my gosh.
I've had that a lot of times. I've been on the train. It's always on the train. I'm on the train somewhere far, and they're like, "Oh, can we delay it by an hour?" And that's where your professionalism comes in. It's like, yes, of course. And then you've got to take all the burden on yourself. That is, the unexpected. You've got to take all that burden on yourself and be like, yeah, cool, go and sit in a coffee shop, even though you waking up at 7 a.m. made you super tired. You're like, damn, I could have got that extra hour, but okay, cool, setback. Now you go and sit at home. Sorry, you go and sit in a coffee shop and whatever. That's the life of a freelancer. You can't really prepare for this kind of stuff, but what I'll say is be prepared for anything and everything to be thrown at you, because it will be.
Absolutely. And I love that message, as we get a shout out here for Mr. Flawless.
Flawless himself. Yes.
Yeah, right. Shout out to him.
Love Flawless, man, my guy.
And you brought up a great point about you just have to sometimes do something that makes you uncomfortable. So I know for me, as a content creator, one of the things that I had to wrestle with was being a perfectionist. I had to completely throw that out. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm as a creative, I'm very passionate about my vision. But if it doesn't match the way I'm able to do it, then I feel like I don't want to do it. But I have to realize I'm not going to be an expert. It's not going to be perfect the first time. You have to build up to that. You have to get those levels, as Saeed would say, right? So it's levels out here.
Yeah, it's level. It is definitely levels out here, big time. Exactly. So yeah, no, it's a blessing to kind of be able to say that I'm self-employed and do all of this stuff, and to just keep working hard at it, because I've chosen this life. I can't turn around tomorrow after 5 years of dedicating all of this time and say, okay, now I'm going to work a 9 to 5.
Right.
I've put in too much. I've sacrificed too much. I have spent too much to now turn around and be like, yeah, I'm going to give this up. It just can't happen.
It's true. So in terms of creativity, usually that comes from inspiration. So what are the type of things that inspires Miles?
Wow. What inspires me? I've not been asked that before.
Really?
I think people do big time. I think genuinely creative people do. I always say that I don't think I am 100% the most creative person, just because just from knowing me, I just feel like I have to work a bit harder at producing and creating good stuff. So I look at people who are naturally creative and just can think of an idea and run with it and produce it very well. And I'm not too brave enough to I'm not too stubborn enough to not humble myself and kind of be like, bro, how did you do that? There's a lot of people who admire people, but something within them, there's a lot of pride that would make them not want to go to that person and be like, yo, how did you do that? I will even like, there's some people who kind of come to me and be like, yo, you're doing all of this stuff, but if you see my like the people I holler at and be like, yo, how did you do that? How did you do that? And some of those people turn around and be like, yo, but you're doing all this great stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you're doing something that I also would like to be able to do. Like I'm not the finished article. No one is. So it's kind of just knowing that, okay, you might be good at something, but you can keep growing. You can keep grafting, as Flawless says. So that being humble and just going to some people who maybe you feel like are a level below you. Maybe they don't do as exciting stuff as you do. They might still have something to offer that you need to humble yourself and be like, yo, how did you do that? Teach me. That's one thing I make sure I do, because I'm not going to grow otherwise.
Absolutely. So just, preemptively, I'm probably going to come to you in the future with the same type of question. And I've already, jumped in Josh's DM, like, yo, where did you get that track for this video? Like little things like that. And he hit me back. So I have to shout out him out again. So I just appreciate, paying it forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's the same with me. Like I've hit up some people that I never thought would respond to my DM. Flex being one of them a few years ago. That's how I got into doing the United Stand. I didn't know Flex. I didn't know Josh. I knew of Josh. We had met a couple of times, but I didn't know Josh like that. I messaged Flex relentlessly. I say relentlessly. No, relentlessly. A good few times actually. Was it 2018? Like the winter of 2018, and I said, bro, I watch this channel every day, and I do this stuff. I film. I was working for another YouTube channel that kind of did a lot of work like around Arsenal and like with Arsenal Fan TV sometimes as well. And I said, bro, I do this stuff. I know Josh loosely. Like, give me a shot. And he said, okay, we'll if we need, we are looking for someone. If we want to go forward with it, then we'll kind of give you a shout. And then I hit him up again, just in case he forgot about me. And he was like, you know what, we could use you. Jumped in. It was a great day. And then they said, we need an extra guy. Do you want to travel on the road with us? And I was like, yeah, 100%. So
that's amazing. I mean, but it all comes down to taking action, right? Because I think Gary Vee says this literally every time he speaks. If you don't ask, no one can say yes.
Nobody can say yes. I've had to tell myself that a lot, bro. So much. Just being shy, fear of seeming too pushy. I would kind of maybe ask one question and be like, yo, can I help out? And then I'd immediately get this, whoa, don't be pushy response. And that kind of always sat in my brain like, oh, maybe asking is not the right thing to do.
Right.
Dumb. Once I got over that, it kind of changed everything. And, opportunities do open. It might not take you from here to like, where you're trying to go exactly, but it might open a door, and it might mean you're meeting more people. So meeting Flex immediately opened up more things to me. Meeting Flex opened up Manchester for me, Manchester, the area, because I had very rarely been to Manchester, but now all of a sudden I'm going there every week. It's kind of becoming a second home. I'm becoming familiar with the roads and stuff. This is a place that's 5 hours away from me, I'm also now meeting people in the industry. I'm meeting Man United officials every once in a while. I'm meeting some of the legends every once in a while. I'm meeting the people in the hotel outside of the stadium, Hotel Football.
Right.
That's how I met Flawless. Flawless is a Manchester-based guy, and all of the boys at Pi Radio. I go to the BBC Sport offices in Salford in Manchester, and I'm now walking into a massive newsroom full of people and making my own contacts there. And it's like, that wouldn't have happened if I didn't send someone a couple of DMs. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't send those DMs. And you're telling me that you're going to sit at home wondering whether that person will be annoyed whether you message them or not. You better go and message them. You better go and message them right now, because you don't know where you'll be in a year. You don't know where you'll be.
Absolutely. Please do message them. And at the end of the day, I'm quite certain those are the type of people who are ambitious like yourself, and they probably only want to work with the people who are go-getters and will at least message and do the DM at the minimum.
I've got this kid right now, and it's such a blessing to kind of have someone see you in this light. But I've got this kid, I think he's 15. He lives in Liverpool, which is again 5.5 hours away from me. It's like close to Manchester.
Yeah, Midlands.
Yeah, and he watches the United Stand, watches the channel, and he's like, bro, like, I love what you do, blah blah blah. And I was just real with him. I was like, bro, I'm not the finished article. I'll be real with you. And he's like, nah, you're this, you're that. And I was like, okay, cool. But because he's young, he wants to learn, and he hasn't. Okay, maybe he hasn't had the experience, and maybe he's still in school and whatever. But his hunger was made me like, whoa, because he's like, if there's any opportunities, to do stuff with you, then I'd love to come down to London and this and that. And I was like, first of all, I was like, wow, taken aback. but actually I was also like, that kid is me at that age.
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? That kid is how I felt and how I saw a lot of the people that I'm working with now. Like, I would do anything to get in a room with you type thing and kind of learn from you and grow. So I immediately respected that. He's the first one I've had do that, and I really respect it. And he's definitely someone I want to give an opportunity to, if I can even give him that. You know what I mean? I don't think I have opportunities left, right, and center to be given out to people. But if there is something that he's willing to come and jump in on, then that's something I'd like to do, because someone like Flex gave me a shot. Someone like a lot of the people who I work with now gave me a shot. So you have to give someone else a shot. You have to.
You have to. And it goes back to your original example of, let's say, the older generation is not always want to integrate the younger talent, because you can always put them under your wing, and then, you know, they have the potential to, get even better, which is kind of what we want. We want more creative, innovative people in the world, because the world's always going to benefit from that.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're 100% right. Yeah, it's all about passing information down. It's all about not being threatened by people, because there's always going to be people wanting to do what you do. There's always going to be people better than you, like I said before. And I think the main thing is not being threatened by people, humbling yourself and being like, yo, you are sick. You do this thing better than I do. I want to learn everything that you know. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of pride, I think a lot of pride does affect people and stops people from getting to where they want to get to. But that pride will never stop me. It will never. I will DM you and be like, yo, teach me. I've literally said to people, I will meet up with you in a cafe and please just teach me. I will pay for your coffee, do this, do that, and then you just teach me about this thing. That's how on it, and how much I wanna learn and grow and succeed and be the best at what I do.
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful mindset to have, because if we go all the way back to Renaissance times, if we look like people like Leonardo da Vinci and whatnot, he had to become an apprentice first before he was considered a maestro.
Of course.
And,
yeah.
And if you're a maestro, you're not going to want to teach anyone your craft, what you live, literally your life purpose, if they're not passionate about starting from the bottom and growing like you did. You don't want to pass that on to them.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I feel like, there's just a certain humble spirit that you need to be able to win in this game, man. A lot of people hide their not their talents, but hide the knowledge of their talents because of fear of maybe that person overtaking them or taking maybe the food out of their mouth, which I don't really believe can happen, because there's work everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So I really do believe in being humble and not only asking for help, but also passing on knowledge down to people who want it, who really want it.
Absolutely. And we all know that the youth and, the children are the future. And my own curiosity, when did you realize you had an affinity for the visual arts?
I knew I always wanted to do it when before I went to university. So it's what I studied at university, basically broadcast journalism. And then when I was done and kind of trying to kind of get my foot in journalism, I then thought, you know what? I'm really struggling to get in. So let me go and pick up a camera and just see what I can do with it. And I don't know why or where the idea came from, but I remember working at Wembley Stadium selling food. And that's the England football team national stadium, for anyone who doesn't know. Just saving my money. It was a terrible time, because people just weren't nice. They just weren't nice there. It was a terrible time. It was a lot of hours, and I just saved every penny and bought a Canon, and then didn't know how to use the Canon. Didn't know how to use it at all, bro. I didn't know how to use it at all. And started doing photo shoots with my friends. Them going badly, I'd do a photo shoot and every photo would come back blurry.
Oh.
It was crazy. So I went from there to like actually people kind of getting me to do like filming little events and stuff, little music events and stuff, absolutely botching the content and trying to piece it together and be like, sorry, but I've kind of ruined half of the video. Like just making my mistakes on the fly. Oh, terrible
Wow.
stuff, bro. I've got stories that will humble anybody. So that's why when people kind of say, oh, you're so good at what you do, it's very easy for me to humble myself, because I think back of the times when I've ruined footage. My hard drives crashed and a day's footage was lost. Just so much, so much. So that's the long and short of it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I can even confess there have been a plenty of podcasts and video ones as well where I forgot to hit the record button on both the camera and the recording device, and I'm just like, Josh, what are you doing? Like, come on. What's the point of setting all this equipment up just to do that? So there's been plenty of times where I just have to do multiple takes. Like, gotta take it on the chin, but we just have to do this one again.
Let's do it again, exactly. Yeah, and then obviously, you build up your confidence. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake, and that, once you're confident in what you do, it's like, look, I made a mistake, but let's just redo it because I know what I can do. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind me asking, do you have any projects that we should all look forward to? Mainly tomorrow on your IG.
Yeah, so I've been shooting really short videos, just stuff a minute long. This one is about a minute and a half long that I'm posting tomorrow, and it's just ideas that come into my head that I think, okay, let me get it on camera. And it's also just to kind of boost my portfolio, so that again, once we come out of this, I have a whole array of things that I did and I shot whilst in lockdown, quarantine, whatever. So so for example, tomorrow I have a video going out on my Instagram, which is a thought-provoking piece. How much do I want to say about it? It's called Hooked. And I'll just kind of leave it for everyone to see. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. Actually, I'm going to put the finishing pieces to it as soon as this is done. But it's pretty much done anyway. And yeah, just things like that. I'm trying to put together visual pieces and things like that, stuff that I can pitch to brands and things like that.
Nice.
Some of the big brands, and just be like, look, I can put together creative stuff. Do you want to work together, kind of thing? So yeah, that's the aim for me.
Wow, that's really dope. And then you brought up the aspect of traveling a lot. So my question for you, and I feel like I asked you this on IG, where is the first place you're gonna go after quarantine? Let's say globally to work, someplace like that.
To work, I haven't actually done a work vacation yet, or like a work thing that's been overseas. I was so close to one and it fell through. So I don't actually know. What I definitely would love to do more in the future is, because we're well connected to Europe. I mean, we're out of the EU now, but so it won't be as easy to travel into Europe. But what I would love to do is just, I went to Madrid last year, not for a work holiday, it was just by myself. I just went to just enjoy. And I would love to do more of those, because those are like an hour flights. Imagine taking an hour flight and you're in another country. Like America, you have to fly 5 hours to stay in the same country.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, you fly an hour this way, you're in Spain. You fly an hour that way, you're in Holland. We've got so many countries around us. So I want to be doing a lot more of that kind of weekends, and just, the flights are quite cheap as well. Well, they were anyway before COVID. So yeah, but the next place I plan to go to is to Ghana, my home country, which I haven't been to since I was 11 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 26 now, so that's a long time. It's a long time. So I was planning to go in October, but that probably won't happen. The money I saved has had to be spent on bills and stuff because of the whole COVID stuff. So hopefully next year, that's definitely where I'll be going.
That'd be pretty cool, and I'm sure that there'll be a let's say a docu-series of when you're there.
Oh, of course. I mean, I love Africa. There's so much stuff to be filmed, taken like photos that need to be taken. Oh, there's so much that needs to happen out there. So much.
Absolutely, I think that's one of the main parts I love about Europe. So me anecdotally, I definitely want to live there at some point in life, probably in London or Stockholm, and just grow the network there as well, and be bi-continental.
Have you been to the UK?
I have. I actually used to date someone there, someone who was on Britain's Next Top Model and America's Next Top Model. So back when I was in school in Miami, so I would go to London frequently, and actually lived there one summer as well for a college course. That was pretty cool too.
Interesting. I like that. No, that's good. Yeah, you should come down more often for sure. There's a lot of people here that can accommodate you and like show you around, and yeah, you've made a lot of friends around here. So yeah, definitely come back.
Absolutely. And I actually have to shout out Mr. Aaron United, because Aaron's one of the people I'm going to collaborate with when I go to Manchester. Saeed as well. Hopefully Nuruddin, and London, obviously Miles in person. That would be dope as well.
That'll be dope.
Terry from the Football Terrace. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot going on down here.
And then my question for you is, how's everything with the High Top Low Fade podcast?
Yeah, that's all good. That was Flawless is. I think you need to read what Flawless is saying.
Having a laugh, huh?
But yeah, High Top Low Fade is I wouldn't even call it a podcast, but I think it should be a podcast anyway. But that's another thing. It was a video series I did with my friend in my learning how to use cameras phase. Him and I went to university together, and we were always like, it was always me and him. Everyone knew about us two together. Like, we were always kind of like the life of the party, cracking joke, going to the clubs, going to the parties, and it was always me and my friend Gabriel. So we came up with this idea to film a bunch of videos more often about relationship topics. I think we did that in like 2016 or I think it was 2016 or maybe 2015. We did a bunch of those. I had a high top at the time, and he had a low fade. I had a really high top. So we called it High Top Low Fade. And then it stopped just because of, my friend Gabriel moved to Wales.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, it's the next country, but it's still like a 3-4 hour or something like away. I was away. So we stopped for a few years, and then we just thought to bring it back when he moved back to London. And we just brought it back, and people have received it very well. We had a core group of a following that kept asking it to come back. It's not something we put pressure on, because it's not even something that we care to make big, really. It's just, we've got an Instagram, we've got 120 followers, something like that. And we just cater to the people that like to see the content. A lot of the stuff I do, a lot of the projects I do personally, I'm always pushing it, trying to get people to see it. And I just thought, with this thing, let's just make it chill. I don't think I need to push everything, because it takes a lot of energy. Let it just be organic and be natural. If it's the music channel, then yeah, that needs to be pushed, and my own videos need to be pushed. But this was it's just some fun that we do. And with that freedom of not having to push it, people have really taken to it actually, and shared it around. So yeah, no, that is good, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I love the videos that you guys put out, and it did remind me of, I'm not sure if you saw the movie The Social Network, kind of how they're, Oh, okay. Well, it's just in the film, they use a metaphor of having a party and not having let's say an end time, because you don't want to be like, oh, the party's up until 12. We don't even know what the party is yet. It could be a complete rager, but if you put a cap on it, it won't be able to grow into something massive.
True. That's true. I need to see that film.
It's a very inspiring film for me. I watch it at least one time a year, because it shows how Zuck created Facebook. So that's pretty cool. And also for you and Gabriel are more than welcome. If we'll align the schedules streaming wise. So I have a Poetic Charm podcast that also talks about dating, and I'm sure people.
That would be great.
They would love to hear opinions outside of America. I think that would be incredibly healthy. Have a world-class conversation. I think that would be a lot of fun.
We've got some strong opinions, some very strong opinions, and actually a lot of conflicting opinions as well. We always button heads on our opinions. So I think that would be a great shout, big time.
Absolutely. So again, Miles, thank you so much for making the time. I know you have to get back to work, as do I, but thank you so much for joining us, Flawless and Chloe, in the comments. And thank you once again.
Yeah, appreciate it. Now, thank you for having me on, man. Appreciate it a lot.
Absolutely. And everyone stay safe and God bless.